Yes, yes. Okay, well, how's it going, everybody? Well, welcome. There's a lot of new faces I haven't seen before, so welcome to Heart Strong Workshop. This is one of my favorite topics when we talk about the heart and the cardiac system, because as you can see, about 60 to 70% of Americans struggle with heart problems, and it's not getting better; it's getting worse. And so, even though we struggled with last year with COVID, and we're still struggling with this year and things like that, but heart problems are still at the highest rate it's ever been. And so today we're really gonna figure out, okay, why our heart disease numbers keep rising. What is the link between high cholesterol and heart disease, and what lifestyle choices that you can make right now to help you overcome whether you have high blood pressure or even prevent it. Like people even think about prevention until you get high blood pressure or get a heart attack. The crazy thing about the heart is that most of your heart problems you don't feel until you probably get a heart attack or you get diagnosed with high blood pressure and things like that. That's why it's so important to really understand where we are and what can you do inside your body in order to prevent all these different types of statistics and numbers I'm probably going to shoot at you, so you can understand, okay, what can I do? And I'm going to give you steps that you can do to overcome any type of high blood pressure, high cholesterol. Is it good for you? Is it bad for you? Statins, things like that. A lot of people have a lot of questions about that. And so heart murmurs, things like that. And so, but before we get into that, I want to share my mission. Here, we want to empower longer, healthier lives through chiropractic care and integration of the 5 essentials. What I mean by that is, when I was called here to the state to Louisiana. I was happy over there in Florida, and so but God was leading me here. God was leading me here because, but God was leading me here because there's more sickness, more disease here in the state of Louisiana than anywhere in the state. Now we got 51 states. It's not 50 states no more. It's 51 states. Yeah. Washington D.C. is now a state. So,
for real?
Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah. Since yesterday.
Yeah.
And so,
since yesterday.
But I truly have a big vision here for Lake Charles, Louisiana. And then I try to partner up with others who has the same vision. Who have different types of businesses to really speak life and truth to every person in here, because as I go around Louisiana and I go around really Southwest Louisiana, I speak to different people. People actually feel like they're broken, like they're weak, that they're destined for disease, that they have to have this for the rest of my life and things like that. And in their mindset, they've been brainwashed like this is the only way. You have to have surgery, or you have to take this for the rest of your life, and that's just not true.
Right.
You were healed and designed to heal from the inside out without any type of interference. That's why I named my practice Life by Design Chiropractic. Life by Design. You were designed to heal and live a long quality of life.
Yeah.
There's people living longer, but how they're living longer in what? Nursing homes, not in cruise ships. You got to think about, okay, how can I live a life in a cruise ship instead of a nursing home? Enjoying your life, quality of life, not in wheelchairs or on 12 different medications or on surgery after surgery. There's better ways to do it. We just haven't been taught those ways.
Right.
Yet.
That's
And
right.
so, and here I'm going to show you specifically about your heart. This right here, like what we're talking about today, the number one death-causing disease is heart disease. It kills more people all around the world than any type of condition. Cancer, diabetes, things like that. It doesn't matter what it is. Heart disease destroys people's lives. It does. And so, and the most common is strokes and heart attacks. Think about it. When do you know you have a heart problem? Most likely when you have a heart attack. Yep. Which we cannot be waiting that long. If not, that is more detrimental, and it's very harder to, correct that. There's a lot of myths I'm going to start talking about. Heart disease is a normal thing with aging. Who's ever heard of that? Oh, your heart's giving you trouble, it's normal. That's not true.
Right.
Heart disease is not normal with aging. The truth is, it's common, but it's not normal. There's been studies. There was called the Begalusa study. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of the Begalusa study. The Begalusa study was basically, they did studies, biopsies, autopsies on these kids from 3 years old to 26 years old. And after they autopsied them, they looked at their arteries. They found from 100% fatty streaks in their arteries from 10 years old and down. 10-year-olds are already having fatty streaks in their arteries. And so, and they saw 100% of them. And so, which is shocking, because if you think about it, kids, they play around, things like that. It starts from a young age. And it starts developing. There was another study they did in Korea, during the Korean War in 1953. What they did was all these casualties, what they did was they autopsied every single one of them. They looked at their arteries, and about 77% of them actually had atherosclerosis. Atherosclerosis basically is the hardening of the arteries. And guess what the average age was? 22.
Oh, wow.
22 years old. 22 years old had atherosclerosis already, and 90%, about a short amount of 5 to 10% of them actually had 90% blockage already.
What?
In their arteries. That was during in 1953. So they known this way back when. Way back when. But what have we done about it? Does that make sense? And so so atherosclerosis starts not at 30, not at 40. It starts at 10, 6, 15, 8. That's why it's so important to teach your kids, how to ingest things, put things inside your body that are life-giving, not life-taking. Because a lot of the things that we're putting in our bodies are life-taking. And so, but those were two interesting studies that I was just so shocked, because I wouldn't even think a 10-year-old would have any type of fatty streaks, which is the beginning stages of atherosclerosis. These are the statistics. I mean, here in the U.S., 1 out of 3 deaths in the U.S. is heart disease. Some type of heart condition. 1 out of 3 deaths. There's a death every 30 seconds of some type of heart issue. Stroke, a heart attack, things like that. Those are the two common. And then there was a study done in 2015, and they really factored in direct cost and indirect cost, but with the toll of heart disease it has in our economy. And they said that by 2035 is going to have a 1.3 trillion. That's how much they have to spend, every American together, just for heart disease. That's it. That's only one condition. Not cancer, not diabetes, or anything like that. So it's taking a toll on our economy because we've been treating conditions. We haven't been getting to the cause of the problem. What is the cause? And so we're going to learn that today. There's a lot of key risk factors right here. Very important to understand. These are the 3 biggest ones. High cholesterol, high blood pressure, smoking. I'm not sure if you knew, but they used to think smoking was good for you.
Oh,
yeah. And so smoking was good for you. They had advertisement and things like that. And so, but everybody now knows that it's a high risk of cancer and things like that, and heart disease. High blood pressure, high cholesterol. Those 2 things, we're going to probably talk about cholesterol in a second. But high cholesterol, oxidation of cholesterol, is probably the biggest cause of heart disease, atherosclerosis in your arteries. And so and then of course high blood pressure if you don't watch it. Cholesterol. This is very important to understand because 5-year-olds now think cholesterol is bad for you. This is very important to understand. Cholesterol is cholesterol. God designed cholesterol to help you. 80% of your liver produces 80% of cholesterol in order to protect you. Every hormone at its base has cholesterol. Every hormone, testosterone, cortisol, whatever it is. In vitamin D, in order for you to get vitamin D inside your body, you need cholesterol. And so that's why when you see a lot of people with statin drugs, yes, it lowers down your cholesterol, but guess what? They're vitamin deficient. Vitamin D deficient. There's been studies, especially with COVID, that vitamin D alone reduces your chances of COVID by 60%. Alone, that's it. By going out in the sunlight. It's crazy how God designed your body to heal and to have everything that it needs. It comes from the inside out. We just are interfering with it. And so, but when it comes to cholesterol is cholesterol. Cholesterol is good. However, this is probably what you heard, HDL and LDL. Who's heard of those? When you go to the doctor, you get your lipids checked. Guess what they check? LDL and HDL, correct? Yeah. They say HDL is good cholesterol, but LDL is bad cholesterol. LDL and HDL is not cholesterol. HDL and LDL is not cholesterol. It is a carrier of cholesterol. It carries cholesterol either into out of the blood or into a site of inflammation and damage. Cholesterol is anti-inflammatory. So when you have damage in your artery walls, guess who's at the scene? Cholesterol, in order to repair it, so it can actually heal it. But guess what carries it to that artery or to that damaged part? LDL. So what LDL and HDL tell you, it's not how much cholesterol you have, it's how much inflammation you have. That's how much inflammation you have. And so because LDL carries it, keeps it in the blood. That's why it's called bad. I mean, you don't want cholesterol in your blood, but for a short period of time, it is necessary for that artery to heal. Does that make sense? Yeah. HDL is good because it takes it out of your blood, detoxifies it, gets it out of your system. Does that make sense? And so, if you, it's like I went to Africa on a mission trip, and in Africa, when you drive through these roads, there's literally these indentions. I mean, it's like you have to dodge them everywhere you go. And so there's these indentions, and I remember driving. There was a group of us, and there was a driver there. And we were driving. It was in Ghana, Africa, and we were dodging all these things. And then I looked to the right, and there's this immaculate road. It was beautiful. I mean, it really was compared to, the roads that we have here. But it was beautiful. And then I told the driver, what is that? I'm like, why are we not driving that road? I said, oh, that's the president's road. The president has all these supercars, and he loves driving down through there. And I was like, oh, okay. And then there's these roads with all these craters. But when you think about it, when you have inflammation inside your body due to bad fats, too much sugar inside your body, what happens is when your body can't metabolize that consistently, what happens is, it actually inflames the inside of your artery wall, and it makes these craters, like that road. And guess who's the construction crew? Is cholesterol. Cholesterol comes in, is like, let's repair this. However, if you keep living the same lifestyle, cholesterol can't keep up. And guess what? Its whole entire job is to be in there, and it becomes plaque. And now it builds and builds and builds and builds and builds, and now you're blocked. Does that make sense? Yeah. So the cause of heart disease is inflammation inside of the arteries, and then of course living a bad lifestyle. Does that make sense? And so cholesterol is cholesterol. Good and bad cholesterol are just carriers. If you truly want to know the true, your cholesterol, it's called it's a NMR lipoprotein test, lipoprofile. Whatchamacallit? What's the LabCorp does it? And so I sent some people over there. So if y'all want that test, just let me know. But it's the size of cholesterol is what matters. Not how many HDL, LDL. This just tells you if you're inflamed or not. And then that just tells you if you're inflamed. But the size, how big they are, the nanometers, though, that's what you have to be concerned about. Okay. And so, but doctors don't check for that. No. You have to ask for that. Okay. And so that's very, very, very important. And so hopefully you understand that cholesterol is good for you, because what statin drugs does, this is what it does. I mean, it lowers down your cholesterol. Absolutely it does. However, remember, cholesterol makes your hormones. It makes what? It's your vitamin D levels, things like that. When you don't when you're reducing the amount of cholesterol you have, guess what? Your hormones are going to be out of whack, and your vitamin D levels are going to be out of whack, most likely. So you're going to be a little foggy-headed. Also, statins, I mean, research is showing this already, been showing this. It literally, because 60% of your brain is made of cholesterol. Fat, yeah, cholesterol. Yeah. And so it takes, when you take statins for a long period of time, it starts taking cholesterol out of your brain. That's when the fogginess and the confusion, things like that occur. Wow. Because it literally takes it out. And so it lowers down. So statins for a long period of time, I mean, for a short period of time, go for it. I mean, my friend had Lyme's disease. Anybody know what Lyme's disease is? Lyme's disease, basically, it just inflames a lot of your organs. However, for him, he was out of the country and he got Lyme's disease. He went to the doctor and his cholesterol was about 400 to 500, which is not good. Right. I mean, the doctor was freaking out and said, you immediately have to be on these statins. But he kind of understood the foundation. Okay, the body, why, you have to ask your question, why is my body acting this way? So he knows that something was inflamed. He was inflamed. And so he understood about cholesterol and said, okay, my body's trying to fight for me right now. You know, temporarily, inflammation is good for you in the short run. In the long run, no. It's going to destroy your body. So for him, he didn't take his advice. He started, you know, he did a bunch of different types of protocols to lower down inflammation. And within a month, his inflammation, of course, his cholesterol dropped down. Mm-hmm. So him having Lyme's disease, he was going to get statins, things like that. But if he would have taken that statin, it probably would have killed him because his body was fighting for him. If you decrease the amount of cholesterol in your body can't 100% heal. It can't fight for you no more. And so people struggle with healing, that healing process. That makes sense? Is this, I know you're like, but hopefully I'm trying to break it down to make it as easy as possible to understand that this is the truth about cholesterol. The oxidation of cholesterol is truly the cause of a lot of heart attacks and strokes. Is the fermentation of sugar. Sugar gets fermented in your body by oxygen for a long period of time. And that oxidizes what? Cholesterol. And that is what builds all that plaque. There's more people actually have heart attacks from normal cholesterol than elevated cholesterol. Okay. People have more heart attacks with normal cholesterol than elevated cholesterol. And so people with low cholesterol actually have, let's see, because the studies are right here. Let me see if I remember all these. Hopefully y'all are understanding a little bit more about cholesterol because there's a higher death rate with low cholesterol than high cholesterol. Do you see how high cholesterol is actually good for you? All HDL and LDL tells you there's inflammation inside your body. If you truly want your cholesterol's tested, you get a NMR lipoprotein profile. And that tells you the size of the cholesterol. Wow. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. That's when you know, okay, you're building plaque somewhere. Mm-hmm. And so you have to decrease your inflammation and allow your body to heal from the inside out. And I'm going to show you ways to do that. And so, what causes high cholesterol? Guys, I think everybody kind of knows this. I really don't have to tell you this. I mean, yeah, I kind of already know what this is. But what causes high cholesterol? Well, processed foods. I know it's French fries, but processed foods, trans fats. Trans fats, things like bad fats. You know what I'm talking about, bad fats? Like your different types of oils that you cook with, vegetable oil, canola oil. Those are not good fats. That actually, when they're hydrogenated, that's why. They're hydrogenated, change the chemical structure. So every time you cook with it or make steak, make chicken, whatever it is, guess what? Fish. It's a fish too, yep. it changes the chemical structure of whatever that was, and then of course you ingest it, and guess what? It changes literally your DNA and how your body. Think about it. It's like your if you put something foreign inside your body, what is your body taught to do? What is designed to do? To fight it, to heal it, to get it out of your body. And so, which is a good thing. You want that. It's called your immune system. You want that. However, when we continue to barrage it with all this bad fats, too much sugar, rancid oils, exactly, rancid oils, all these things, when you bombard it, get your brain and your nervous system and your immune system is like, look, fight it, fight it, fight it, fight it, fight it, and then all of a sudden we get these achy, like, why is my joints are so achy? Why is my hip hurting? Why am I feeling this way? Why am I shivering? Why am I forgetting stuff? Why my vision? Because it affects your vision. Why is my high blood pressure up? You see all these little symptoms because your body is having a battle, a war inside of you. Wow. And you don't even know it. But what we're taught to do is let's treat that war. Let's treat that war instead of getting to the cause of the war. Yeah. We got to get to the cause of it. And so but I can go on and on. I'm doing a nutrition 101 class in the next 2 weeks. And I'm going to get more in depth on nutrition. However, a lack of movement, lack of exercise. I mean, people just don't move no more. And so they're sitting with Netflix or some type of Tubi or whatever it is, staying in. I mean, when we were locked down, we're staying inside watching the news. That will raise your blood pressure. If you look at CNN, like, please stop watching CNN, Fox News, all of that, because that's raising your blood pressure right now. If you just think about it, what's going on in the presidency, all that is raising your blood pressure. And so, and of course, while we're sitting and watching CNN, we're eating French fries and potato chips and stuff like that because it's just not things like that. And so, do you see how that just tripled? It's just choices that we make that add up, and then boom, we get the diagnosis. But it didn't start at the diagnosis. It started at 10 years old. Wow. Come on. At 5 years old. It started way back when. And so when we start, and whatever age you are, you just start right now. And you can't reverse time. You just start right now, and that will give you 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years of life that you probably didn't, you were headed a different direction. And so it's very important that the cause of high cholesterol is lack of movement, poor diet, things like that. And then, I'll get into more things. There's a lot of things that I haven't talked about, like being overweight, obesity, diabetes is a huge correlation to high cholesterol, and because of sugar. Too much sugar is inflammation. And so the silent killer, what science calls the silent killer is high blood pressure. High blood pressure is a silent killer. We don't feel it until we get checked, basically, or we get a heart attack, one or the other. High blood pressure. And so high blood pressure, this is this has changed. Honestly, this is not good that it's changed. Stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, as you can see, normal is 120/80. However, it's still not solidified, but they're trying to change it to shorter. 130 to 135. 135 to 140. Stage 2, immediately. That's not good, because that means as soon as you hit 130, let's put you in a Lipitor. That's right. Let's put you on this. Let's put you on this to lower down the blood pressure. But the question should be, okay, what is causing my blood pressure to be so high? Am I stressed? Is my job stressed? Did I get a divorce? Did my mom pass away? You see, there's something stressful, something stressing your body in order for your blood pressure to go high. And so we got to figure out what's causing it. We got to stop treating symptoms. That can only last so long. You got to get to the cause of the problem. And so these are some key risk factors right here. Blocked arteries, atherosclerosis, heart attack. Basically, this is 1, 2, 3. When you get blocked arteries, basically from atherosclerosis, you get hardened arteries, and guess what? You get a heart attack. And so this, I think everybody understands this right here. And so one of the biggest things that I've noticed is when it comes to heart trouble, a lot of our prescription medications are causing a lot of high blood pressure, especially with women with what's it called? Birth control. I'm seeing a lot of teenagers with high blood pressure.
Yes.
Because they're on birth control. Teenagers, high blood pressure. Is on different types of birth controls. And so like, because it's affecting your hormones. A lot of, but not only that, I mean, a lot of insects increase blood pressure. And you can see it, you can look at the side effects, you know, a little Advil, oh, that doesn't hurt, right? Well, if you take that for a long period of time, guess what? Your body is like gonna get used to it. It's like, whoa, you know, let's increase the blood flow. So, and it just doesn't have the same effect. If you think about it, I mean, if you've been taking Advil from 5 all the way to 60, it probably doesn't have the same effect than when you were at 5 years old. And so, because it just wore off. And so, antidepressants is a big one too that people don't understand, that it does increase your blood pressure. Even some supplements, guys, some supplements, herbal supplements can increase your blood pressure. Some supplements, it just depends. That's why you always want to check, especially if you have something in your family with high blood pressure, or you've been struggling with high cholesterol or blood pressure, like at least check it. I mean, once a week, twice a week, whatever it is, just see if you're within that range, things like that. But don't just check it and keep eating the same way and not moving, and like do the things that are gonna get you to longevity, and then check it. So you have to be dependent and find a doctor who can help you get off those medications. There's some good primary care docs around here that will help you, you know, work your way out of those medications, so you have to experience this for the rest of your life. Does that make sense? Yes. And so,
I think one of the things you're fixing to talk about too is that lifestyle changes covers about all that.
All that, exactly.
I mean, it's almost, you can't wait for your doctor. It's just I like Dr. Google. Okay.
Yeah.
Google everything. I mean, and that's how you educate yourself.
Yes. And this is really what I teach right here, is the 5 essentials. And basically what the 5 essentials were created for was to remove interferences within your body in order for your body to heal. To go back to normalcy. Being healthy is normal. That's what's normal, being healthy. And so being vibrant, having a quality of life with your grandkids and with your kids and things like that. And so that's normal, not sickness, disease, or none like that's not normal. These 5 essentials is really what I teach in order to remove interferences. If you remove interferences with your body that's stopping your body's ability to heal, guess what? Your body has no choice but to heal. Has no choice but to heal from the inside out. And so when it comes, the first one, like you just said it, nutrition. I can't tell you enough about nutrition. I mean, when it comes to sugar is, sugar is a struggle even for me. You know, like sugar is, like I used to be a cookie addict. And so like, sugar was a big, but sugar is not just sweets. It's your breads, your pastas, your potatoes, your jambalaya, those things. It's those. Those are the most common form of sugar. Comes in grains. In grains, yes, dairy too. Yeah, milk, they put sugar all over so it can taste good, but comes in grains. And so when you think about it, oh, this is not sweet. I don't like sweets. But if you have to eat a little cracker at night. Yeah, you're addicted to sweets.
Wow.
You're addicted to sweets because that turns into sugar immediately. And then when you do that every single day, and since you were 5, 10 years old, your body, remember, starts creating these craters in your arteries because that causes chronic inflammation. Your blood sugar level goes up every time you eat sugar. You have 2 hormones called cortisol and insulin. Cortisol and insulin. Insulin comes from your pancreas. Cortisol comes from your adrenal glands. And guess what? Their job is to lower down your blood glucose levels. Thank God we have that. It's crazy how God was a genius when he created this. He's like, oh, you're going to put sugar in your body?
Yeah.
Let's create this to lower it down.
Wow.
However, when we continue and we don't give our body rest, your cortisol and your insulin levels start getting fatigued and they start shutting down. That's when diabetes, adrenal fatigue, things like that occur. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Just by the little choices that we make that add up in a long period of time. Is this making sense? I'm trying to break it down as simple as possible, not
Education.
long words or anything like that. Because I think it's better if you understand, you make little choices, it makes a big difference. If you just do that, the biggest thing when it comes to a healthy diet, I always recommend is change your oil, get an oil change with your body, get an oil change. Like stay away from canola and vegetable oil. Those are all rancid. Grapeseed oil, there's a lot of them, but I would stick with coconut oil and extra virgin olive oil. But if you want to cook at high temperatures, I would stay with coconut oil. Because extra virgin olive oil will turn rancid
Yes.
Okay.
if you have it in a high temperature. Does that make sense? And you don't. Coconut oil. Yeah. Coconut oil is what you want to really cook with, and things like that.
Well, high temperature cooking is.
Coconut oil,
is-
yeah.
Okay.
Extra virgin olive oil is like baking,
Yeah.
salads, things like that. That's different. But like high temperatures, like chicken and steak, coconut oil is the best. And so like that alone right there will help your cholesterol levels. Changing meats, your meats to grain-fed meat to grass-fed meats is a huge change. The reason it is because cows, what are cows supposed to eat? Cows are supposed to eat grass. Well, what do cows really eat? Grains, right? And you just think about grains turns into what? Sugar. And so when you eat that, when a cow eats that, it gets bigger. I mean, farmers are very smart, they're business minded. I mean, they want the biggest cow so they can sell it and things like that. But however, it's detrimental to our bodies because you're putting more sugar inside your body. And guess what? Inflammation comes up and up and up and up. It starts creating those craters. Guess what cholesterol is going to do? Cholesterol is for you, not against you. And it's gonna what? It's gonna go to that site so it can heal. However, you keep eating it and eating it and eating it. Guess what? It's gonna continue to build. Then you have a blockage.
And so all the hormones and toxins they feed too that get in our bodies.
That's another thing right there. And so like, and I mean I can go on and on about nutrition, but those little changes right there alone, and of course, staying away from Cokes. And things like that, and drinking more water, that alone, I mean, everybody knows what to do, but do we actually do it? Yeah, that's a different story. But if you're addicted to Cokes and things like that, there's an alternative called Zevia. Zevia basically tastes just like, Zevia is made with stevia, which is like a natural root. I mean, Zevia is Zevia.
And that's a drink?
Yep, it's a drink. It tastes literally just like, there's Dr. Zevia, Dr. Pepper, Dr. Zevia. There's ginger ale, I mean, Zevia, it's everything. But that's a better choice if you're addicted to Cokes and things like that. It's a better choice. However, if you have a lot of hormonal issues, a lot of high blood pressure, cholesterol, I would fast that right now. I would just start fasting that, and that will help tremendously in order for your body to actually heal from the inside out. Because you want your arteries to heal. If you've been living the same lifestyle for about 20, 30, 40 years, your body has not healed. You need your arteries to heal. And so like, that's when I would definitely try to reduce the amount of sugar as much as possible each week. You have to work your way up. You can't just go cold turkey. That's just so hard to do. And so it's just very hard to do. So I would start with oils and meats. You do that for like one or two
Changing
months.
your meats, what it would be? What you recommend?
Grass-fed meats, cage-free chicken. Like grass-fed meats, you can find that in Kroger or Albertsons and things like that. But it says grass-fed.
Grass fed, or it says-
What's better than grass-fed
Yeah,
is
it says
grass
on the package.
finished.
It says it on the
Oh,
package.
right.
What's better than grass-fed is grass-finished. Because what grass-finished is probably the best, but grass-fed, they still feed them grains towards the end. I mean, there's a lot of laws and things like that, but grass-finished is the best, you know. Of course, the prices are a little higher than that, but that's why you have to like budget. We budget everything. We budget Netflix, we budget all these things. I mean, we gotta be able to budget for our health.
That's right.
And so like, and then it's like you gotta plan. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah, you just gotta plan around what you eat and things like that. But grass fed, cage-free chicken, things like that, those are really, really good things to do. I get asked this all the time. Supplements. I mean, what supplements do I use? There are things like that. And so like, we're actually giving one of these free right here. BP support basically is a blood pressure support. There's something that's called Bonito peptide. Bonito peptide basically, it's within here. Bonito peptide is what the Japanese use. That's why they're so healthy, a lot of them, especially they don't really have a lot of heart issues. But it's been known to reduce blood pressure. It comes from dried fish. To reduce blood pressure dramatically. Bonito peptide. Also, it has grapeseed extract, which has been known to reduce blood pressure. Those two things are in this right here. So anybody who has blood pressure issues, I always recommend this right here. But what supplements to use? Listen, like, yes, I sell supplements, things like that, but my biggest thing, you need to change your lifestyle. That's the number one thing. Change the way you eat first. That alone will lower down your blood pressure, your cholesterol, and things like that. And so, but some people are deficient in many things. And so that's why I always recommend certain things. And this is basically what I typically recommend, a magnesium. If you have heart trouble, magnesium will relax your heart. It will relax your muscles. It's the element of relaxation. It controls about 30 chemical reactions all around your body. You need some type of magnesium unless you feel like you're at peace. If you're stressed, you probably need some magnesium. B complex, that's your energy. CoQ10, if you have heart issues, CoQ10 is one of the best things. There's something that's called ATP. ATP is it's energy for all your cells. CoQ10 is what creates ATP. So
But that's if you're having heart issues. If you
heart
don't
issues.
have it,
If you
need
don't,
to
no.
take it.
I wouldn't. If you have sleep issues, I would take magnesium, but that's it.
And if you're on statins, CoQ10
yeah.
is a must.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it just completely depletes all your CoQ10.
Yes.
And the doctors don't tell you.
What about
Yes,
if you
yes.
go on if when you take high blood pressure medicine too, you have to take, I take CoQ10.
Yes, I would take CoQ10.
Yeah, I
and
take
high
that
blood
because
pressure
of such
medicine.
the fact that I'm on that.
Yeah, if you're in statins, it depletes CoQ10 and vitamin D.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
take that.
And vitamin
So
D,
you need
and
to have
so
that.
you need some vitamin D if you have high blood pressure. Well, if you're taking any type of statin, vitamin D and definitely CoQ10. Daily defense, basically that's for inflammation. It helps with your inflammation, and so like
Say again?
daily defense helps for inflammation in your immune system. But what is the cause of inflammation?
D-A-I-L-Y,
Is what we've been ingesting.
defense.
And so you have, I mean, you could take all the supplements in the world, but if you can't change the way you put it inside your body, it doesn't, I mean, it's a waste. And so, like, you don't want to waste money on that. And so, oxygen, exercise, I mean, everybody knows this, like, you have to move your body. You have to move your body. You gotta move more. If you work 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day, like, you gotta be able to at least take little breaks every single hour and then move.
Yeah.
Move. I see a lot of big changes in the last few weeks in some that's been coming and exercising because y'all are just committed. That's huge. Moving alone is going to decrease your blood pressure medication. And research now shows literally just exercising 4 days a week for 30 minutes a day lowers down your blood pressure better than 2 blood pressure medications. That alone will benefit you, moving more. And that it's very hard when, especially if you're retired and things like that, you don't have much to do, like, you need some type of motivation to help you. And so find a partner, find somebody to help you. Find get moving, get outside. Now it's about to be summer. Like you need some type of motivation. Think about your grandkids. Things like you need some type of why to get you moving, getting up. Especially if you feel in your heart like you don't have much to live for. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. I mean, you have lots to live for, especially if you're still breathing. That means God has a huge purpose for you in here. And so, but we got to be able to move more. Stress, we can't escape stress. I mean, we have too much going on, things like that. It's how we handle stress. And so, like I said before, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. In order to make a life change, in order to help reduce your blood pressure, your lifestyle, things like that, you have to plan throughout the week. If not, too much stuff happens throughout the week. I mean, it's too much. So we can't, it's very hard to adapt. So if you just maybe meal plan, you know, I'm going to eat this throughout the week, and that's it. You know, I'm going to fast this week. I'm going to go to Clean Juice for this week. And I'm going to fast 3 or 4 weeks. You know, like, do you see, intermittent fasting is another thing, but that's another different topic. But that's very, very important. Learning ways, prayer. You want to de-stress, you got to start praying. It gives you peace. And so, like, that gives you peace right there. And there's so many ways. I mean, do things that you enjoy to do, love to do, hang around. Talk to each other, get some coffee, things like, oh, that's another thing, coffee. Listen, like, I'm a coffee drinker too. I'm a coffee drinker too.
In the morning,
Yeah, yeah, that's so, that's another thing. The things that we put in coffee has so much sugar. So much sugar.
25 calories in
Yes.
each one of those little things that
Yeah.
you open up. 25 calories.
No, but if
You
you
just
just
do
do the regular
Yeah.
The
Regular coffee,
the
yeah.
flavored ones that they
Yeah.
That should
I know,
be
but
good.
like the
So,
flavored
like,
ones,
just
25 calories in each one.
So,
How many of them do people put in their coffee?
but it's very important just to see, just look at the ingredients, just start reading. You know, just start reading. I mean, I'm not sure if a lot of y'all are readers, but just start reading the ingredients. If there's something you can't pronounce, it's probably not good for you. You know, it's probably not good for you. So you start reading something. Look for different types of sugars. It's very, very important. So that's the coffee. The coffee is a different story because caffeine increases your heart rate and your blood pressure. And so, like, even though I love coffee. Love having coffee with Pastor, and so, but reducing the amount of coffee, like maybe, put in like tea every 2 days, you know, every other day or something like that. That would help, especially with your stress level too, and your blood pressure and things like that. And so, this right here, I'm gonna draw something. I'm not a really good drawer, but I'm gonna close with this. And so. So what's the organ between your ears, behind your eyes? What is that? It's your brain, right? And so your brain communicates to your body through what system? Your nervous system, right? Your nervous system is your spinal cord right here, and it has 24 exits right here on both sides. And so we're going to use the heart for example. I'm a horrible drawer, man.
What a great speaker.
Yeah, I know. So, 24 exits. We're going to use the heart for example. And so here's the key. The key to health is one thing and one thing only. First, you were designed in your mother's womb with a brain that can function at 100%. You were also designed in your mother's womb with organs that can also function 100%, unless you have some type of genetic defect. That's something different. And so, however, for the majority of people, you're designed with 100% function. However, why do people come in here with headaches, leg pain, indigestion, allergies, things like that? Well, there is something interfering with the communication between the brain and the body and the body and the brain. Because the key to health, I just gotta have 100% of this down here, out to here, so my heart can function 100%. Or my liver, or my kidney can function 100%. But however, what happens is due to different types of circumstantial, life, basically, what happens is there's something that's interfering with this communication between your brain and your body and your body and your brain, whether it's your heart, liver, organs, whatever it is. And so, and what happens is there's interference right here where your spine is. Because your spine is what controls and protects your spinal cord. And due to motor vehicle accidents, slips, falls, things like that, your spine shifts out of alignment, puts tension and pressure right here. And guess what happens? There's an interference between your brain and whether it's your heart, your liver, whatever it is. Because your brain is trying to send signals. However, it's being interfered with right here. And so, it's like this right here. So you can hear me. However, I'm muffled. And so there's an interference. There's something blocking me. However, look how clearly. Now you can hear. That's what happens when you remove that interference. And that's what we call a subluxation. A subluxation basically is a misalignment, putting tension and pressure on these nerves right here. So your body cannot function at 100%. So we're going to use the heart for example. So it begins, so when you have an interference right here, your organs begin to strain. So when you think about a strain, just like this, I'm straining to talk. What is the most common strain for the heart? When your heart has to strain, what is that called? High blood pressure. So high blood pressure. So what is the classic thing that we do here in America with high blood pressure? Right? Yeah, we take some type of medication. So, and then what happens in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? Well, yeah, that with the same dosage, the same medication, that blood pressure comes back, or it gets elevated, it gets higher, right? So, did that medication help the symptom? It did, absolutely it did. However, did it ever get down to the cause of why your heart was strained?
No.
Absolutely not. And so, but don't worry, because if one medication didn't work, let's do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 medications.
Yeah.
Let's do alpha blockers, beta blockers, calcium channel blockers, Lipitor, warfarin, Plavix, and don't forget about that little baby aspirin, right? And so, and in women, I'm not sure if you know this, that research is showing is that baby aspirin, when you take it for a long period of time, it increases your chances of breast cancer by 50%.
Oh, wow.
Just by baby aspirin alone.
Oh, wow.
And so, but that alone, you got to understand. But the multiple medications, of course, what helps the symptom? Absolutely, it does. But does it ever get down to the cause of the problem?
No.
But don't worry, you go to your routine cardiology check, and the doctor says, well, whew, I'm glad you came in today. We found it. Found what, doc? We found 30% heart block. Hey, but don't worry, because we're going to come and we're going to get this little scalpel. We're going to come right here. We're going to make an incision right where your femoral artery in. We're going to put a tube, a camera in there, and we're going to find where that artery is, and we're going to put a what in? A stent, right? And a stent, which is, I'm not sure if you know this, a stent has 100% failure rate. Because in 3, 5, 6, 7 years, guess what? You probably need another one. And another one, and another one. Because you never get down to the cause of the problem. But guess what? A stent what does? It definitely gets rid of the symptom. But it never gets down to what? The cause of why your heart was strained in the first place. Wow. Hey, but don't worry about that, because you go back to your routine cardiology check, and the doctor says, whew, I'm glad you came in today. We found it. We found what? We found 96, 97, 98, 99% heart block. Hey, but don't worry about it, because now we can get our big scalpel. We're going to slice you open, saw you open, put your heart onto your chest, and we're going to go and we're going to come down here. We're going to make an incision. We're going to take that gray saphenous vein. We're going to split it into 4 pieces, and we're going to find those bad, crappy arteries, and we're going to go from the beginning to the end, and we're going to bypass a bridge bypass so your heart can function better.
Wow.
Absolutely, right? And so, like, what is that called? It's a quadruple bypass, that one.
Yeah.
But does that help the symptom?
No.
Well, it does.
Yeah.
But does it ever get down to the cause
That's
of why your heart was
No,
strained in the
no,
first
no,
place?
no.
Hey, but don't worry about it because you go back to your doctor and now it's, I mean, you're huffing and puffing, trying to get to the mailbox to try to get mail and coming back, and you go to your doctor and he says, hey, man, well, you know what we got? Thanks to modern technology, we have this hand-dandy oxygen tank that you can carry around with you that will help you. And does that help? Does that help the symptom?
Yeah.
It does, absolutely it does. It helps you walk, gives you oxygen. However, does it ever get down to why the heart was strained in the first place? No. Well, but that's okay. You go back to your doctor and then you tell them what's going on. A few years go by, and you go back to the doctor and they say, well, there's not much that we can really do right now, but hey, Medicare is gonna pop up in a couple of years, and then they actually get you a scooter, a little scooter that you can actually walk around with and things like that. Go around the flea markets and Walmarts and things like that, right? That you can put your oxygen tank on, right? And so like, and that continues to happen until what? Die.
Wow.
And that might be a little, funny story, a little silly story that we've ever told, but every time I share that story, I think about one person and one thing only. I think about my Papa Rondo. My Papa Rondo grew up in the hollows of Kentucky. He was in the mines. He worked the mines, and he raised 5 children. At age 35, he was diagnosed with high blood pressure. 35. And between that time to about 73 years old, he had 2 open heart surgeries.
Oh, wow.
One at 51, one at 62. He's had gallbladder surgery, stomach bleeds, pacemaker, stents out the kazoo, knee replacements, so far, and much more. And between that time, and he passed away last year, not of COVID, of bad health. And all that time, he was saying, I love my doctor. Woo! He found it. He found it. I love my doctor. I love my doctor. Look what he's doing for me that whole time. And at that last year he was with us, he was saying, man, this should buy me some time. At 73. I'm not sure about you. I have a question, but if I was going to do a treatment to you and it had nothing to do with the cause of the problem, would you do it? But the most Americans, our culture has been taught and brainwashed to believe that that's exactly what they're doing. They're getting to the treatments, to the symptom, but they're never getting down to the cause of the problem. And one of the biggest reasons is right here. There's something interfering with your body's ability to heal. That ain't the only reason. There's several reasons. And so, and when we look at a spine, it's supposed to be straight from front to back, and it should have 345-degree curves. When that's out of alignment, guess what? Your body can't function 100%. Because your brain is struggling to send signals down to your heart, so it can be, so your liver can work, so your kidneys can work, and a lot of times you don't feel those pinching nerves, you don't feel those things. Thank God, because only 10% of nerves actually are for pain. 90% of nerves are actually for function.
Okay.
And God designed it. He was a genius when he created this, because imagine if you felt your heartbeat 60 to 90 beats per minute.
Your blood pressure.
Imagine you felt that. Imagine you felt every time you ate an apple, your intestines start moving.
Yeah.
And you felt that. We'll all be on antidepressants.
Yeah.
There's no way. And so, we'll be just chaotic. Like our bodies can't be able to function. So God designed your body to move and function the way it was created to. But we gotta get down to the cause of the problem.
Yeah.
And so we gotta be able to take care of spine. We gotta be able to eat properly. Not only that, move properly and things like that. And when you do all those things, you're removing all these interference, and guess what? Your body gets to heal. It doesn't have to be like my grandpa.
No.
It doesn't have to be that way. I love my doctor. I remember, I hear this right now. Like I can hear him. And I'm like, really? You know, so like you have to think, like, get to the cause of the problem. And so I'll end with this. If you know anybody, next week I'm doing a patient appreciation week. It's free exams and x-rays. There is no cost for a free exam and x-ray. And so like if you know somebody who's either having heart issues, back problems, neck problems, whatever it is, they still can benefit. They get free exam and x-rays all week next week. There's a Nutrition 101 class that I'm doing on May 8th at 11:30. It's going to be around this same time. It's going to be May 8th. It's 2 weeks from now. I'm going to be breaking down nutrition. It's really going to be 101.5 because I'm going to get a little in depth about certain things. And then I'm going to do a wine with the doc. June 3rd. Basically, there's a woman, Scout and Cellar Wine. She has very organic wines, really good. She's a seller here. She's going to come. We're just going to have a good time of fellowship. I may be talking about panic attacks and anxiety because a lot of people are struggling with that.
Yeah.
And so I may be talking a little bit how to overcome that.
With wine?
But yeah, we won't be drinking a lot of wine, but she's going to have little tasters and stuff like that. But yeah, that's right. That will help you. But I may be talking about that right there. That's going to be in the evening. That's hilarious. I never thought about that, yeah. But that's June 3rd at 6:30. And so I think that's a Thursday night. I think that's a Thursday night. But other than that, thank you so much for coming. If you have any questions, you can schedule like a consult with me. I'll be here, tear everything down. But other than that, come to Nutrition 101 class, wine with the doc and things like that.
Okay, do you know any doctors that is on the same page that you on?
That's hard to find.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what's her name that was in Iowa. She was a holistic doctor. I haven't really talked to her since the hurricane and everything.
She's great. So she's a naturopath here. Dr. Moreno was a big
Moreno.
one. He was
Snow?
great. But Dr. Snow is good. He does a little functional medicine.
Yeah. No, he don't. He's on leg. I used to know him too.
Yes.
You know,
He's
I tell you what, if as far as the doctors, and I was gonna say this before, for me, when he talks about exercise and you get moving, what's helped me mentally is walking. So literally like this morning I went already walk for an hour. But what I do is I throw my headphones on and seriously I just get on YouTube and just ask any question, how to reduce blood pressure, how to reverse heart disease, how to get rid of type 2 diabetes. And there's not enough time in the day. You will not live long enough. Okay, but I try to find half hour to 1 hour of videos, and that way I just educate myself. And then what I found is you'll find information on both ends of the spectrum. Okay. But just kind of bring it to the middle and what works for you and what just makes sense for you. And not only that is what works for you. Okay. So my path has been about 5 years. I've dropped about 50 pounds. Well, it's been about 7 years, but the last 2 or 3 years, I've maintained my body weight. I feel better at 63 than I did in my 40s or 50s. But it's through my own education. Because you don't get it from your doctors. And it's not that they intend to do it, they just don't have time. You're here. Most of these doctors nowadays, they don't work for themselves, they work for the hospitals.
That's right.
That's
right.
Yeah. And then, but there's some docs, Dr. Goolsby is one. He's an alternative medicine doc. He was an oncologist. And then he turned into alternative medicine because
He's here.
he's on what's that road called? He's by the railroad.
Oh, yeah, by the railroad. If
You know where,
take-
go down Lake Street.
Soy-
turn right on the
And
railroad.
you can take Sally.
Sally.
Sally, because I've
It's
been to
Infinite
him.
Health Center.
Yeah.
And so,
He's the one that was gonna do it.
he's a,
Stem surgery?
he's a, I mean, he can give you some info and things like that, and so he will help you, absolutely. But it's hard to find here in the state of Louisiana. A doc who's very,
You have any
holistic.
information on him?
Huh?
That would be somebody I would be interested in. talking.
Yeah, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to
Okay.
you. There's man, one day I am gonna probably bring the paleocardiologist here. He's a holistic doc from Arizona. He's a
Okay.
cardiologist. His wife's a chiropractor, and then I've met him several times in different seminars and things like that. I brought him to my school and things like that to speak. So he'll be a good. He's the best. I mean, if you probably can testify. I read his book and things like that. He's very paleocardiologist. That's a book you should read. He's really really good. So he's a good. But around here, there's a few in Texas, good holistic docs. There's some. It's just hard to find here.
Yeah.
But Dr. Goolsby, Dr. Snow, there's a few that I know. That natural, what's her name? The naturopath from Iowa. But if you do, I can write a list and I can give that to you.
Dr. Jesus.
Dr.
Okay,
G, yeah.
very nice. You sure right?
He's the greatest physician, yeah.
Greatest.
You're right. But yeah, any more questions?
That test that you were talking about.
NMR
for the,
test.
whatever it is, I may not be saying that right.
NMR lipo,
Yeah, the
Profile.
lipo.
lipoprof.
Is that something that's covered by insurance?
I have to see, LabCorp deals with that. Does it?
When I first asked for it, I do, it's called the Cardio IQ and or the VAP. When I first mentioned it to my doctor, he had never heard of it.
No.
And this is like 4 or 5 years ago. And my wife just started getting it done. Her doctor, he's a internal med here. They said nobody's ever asked for that test before. Okay,
No,
but
I don't
like
think it's
Dr.
done.
Antonio said,
We
what it
didn't know.
does, it gives you your particle sizes, and you
Yeah.
have large fluffy LDL or small dense LDL, and the bigger your LDLs are,
Yeah.
is the better for you. And there's patterns that they categorize you in, a pattern A or a pattern B. Pattern A is good, so you can have 240 cholesterol, but if your pattern is pattern A with the large
Yeah.
fluffy, you're protected.
Good.
It's and then also it measures you how many particles you have. So how many cholesterol, I mean LDL particles, the higher the number, the worse it is. You want those numbers, but it's great information, really, like he was saying,
Yeah.
to get you away from the whole just cholesterol number part.
Yes, HDL and
So,
LDL.
so
But-
when you have that test done, you take it to your doctor. Will
So
they
I mean,
work with you
I
on
mean,
that?
I get a lot of people. I send a lot of people
He's
to
so
LabCorp,
good.
and then they send the information, and then I explain it to them. Because I mean,
Okay.
I can't tell you how many people bring their blood work to me, so I can
Okay.
explain it to them.
Everything.
Because people don't give their time.
Yeah, they don't.
I just don't really have time. You're right. So,
Well,
huh? Oh, let's shut off camera.